I bought Shantae Half Genie Hero assuming it is going to be a good introduction to the franchise, as the name implies it's a first in the series, but it isn't. It's actually the fourth one. The first one dating back to the Game Boy Color in 2002 with just Shantae. I didn't know really anything about the world except that it takes place in Sequin Land, which is kind of this Arabian night setting, kind of like Aladdin, you know, all that. And that you have this cute purple-haired genie, half genie, excuse me, and it's very popular, and from what I know, it's very popular among other communities I love, such as Super Meat Boy. So I just kind of assumed that, well, this is gonna be a pretty good action-adventure platformer with a good setting, right? No, I am baffled at how popular this game is compared to the experience I personally had while playing it, and I'm kind of not going scripted, I'm more going with bullet points, but how about I go over what I liked and the more I didn't like about Shantae Half Genie Hero. Let's start with the biggest thing you see when playing the game, which is visuals. Yes, the art style. I don't have much to comment on the art style. It's very basic, it's very neat, like, you know, just cartoons with outlines, there's nothing to comment on that, but the actual design within the art style is something that I think is just, it's very rough to respect. All characters, and I mean with no exceptions, they're separated to over-sexualized skinny girl with big thighs, or fat monster thing, or small monster thing. And those are the three types of living things that you're going to be seeing in this game. And one might say that, like, well, yeah, this is just the art style, you can just critique an art style, it's their choice, but that's dumb. You can critique art choices, which is what I'm gonna do here. I think this is really just boiling a lot of what you feel when seeing cutscenes, so like, I'm supposed to look for porn with this, right? But as a gay and a sensible human being, I don't know, man, I don't know. All the characters, like, you have this backer exclusive weapon, you get the Drifter Blade, so you take April of Drifter, and boom, you add that, and like, I just cannot understand why. Like, this is just fan service, and then there's just have tits. There, you guys like tits? Have some tits. Here, enjoy. Can't look them up on the internet or anything, so why don't we just replace the main thing you see in the game with that? And every animation and every idol and every frame has jiggles, and it's not physics, it's hand-drawn jiggles. And I seriously can't take some of these animations seriously just with how over-sexualized they are. It's ridiculous. It's really hard for me to respect this kind of choices. Alright, next up, I do like the music. I do think the music of the game is really nice. It captures that, again, Arabian Nights aesthetic and all that, all the Persian tales or whatnot. It is nice. It is really groovy. I do think at some points it just kind of like, I think at the first like proper level of the game, there's this little intro song that plays when you go. It just feels out of place and a bit too loud, and I don't know, it just kind of felt intrusive the way they handled that, and the fact that you hear an unaltered version of that while the credits are playing are just like, oh, that's right, this game is like a theme song. Like, it did not stick with me. I'm sure they tried making it memorable with that. No, but the rest of the soundtrack, it's really good, yeah. Back to the bad stuff. Voice acting. Voice acting is limited to select lines and doesn't match up with the lines all the time, which I think a lot of this can be traced back to the fact that this is a Kickstarter, and the way it was handled in the Kickstarter is that certain features of the main quest are limited to stretch goals. That means during development of the game, not every section was handled in mind and not all voice acting. So the stretch goal of $1.1 million was not met, so full voice acting for all proposed mods was just not available. It wasn't an option. And so you just, sometimes you like read these dialogue lines and then someone just like, yeah, we gotta go save him, out of nowhere. And it just, whoa, okay, I forgot there was voice acting. And then, okay, keep voice acting the conversation. And then it's just silent and then it just pops up again. And it's ridiculous. Sort of Joey Pocket play.
Here comes trouble. Why did just random lines have voice acting? What? I have what I can. Like what? What? Uncle's blueprint? What? Why?
Uncle, why don't you remember me?
What the fuck is going on?
Next up is what I think was my worst section of the game, which is the flow and the progression. Again, because this is a Kickstarter, the game wasn't just designed with this concise story in mind. It wasn't designed with its entire plotline and story. And as the dev team went on, they had to add in new chapters that they didn't actually fully plan for. And all of those then, when they are actually added into the game, they feel so shoved in. And here's the thing, you can retrack back to other levels and there's this secrets chart on top of the map that shows you how much things that are still available and how many secrets are left in the game. So whenever you get one of these new dances, which let you explore the level in new ways, whenever you get one of these, you're inclined to go back to another level and start messing with this new option and see what good it does you. This is just the worst part of the game, because what I thought every single time I got a new ability, before hopping on to the planned next level, I just like skipped for some dialogue and was like, okay, I don't care. Before I do next level, I want to explore these levels by myself with the new ability, and then I'll be stronger than one might usually be when playing this game, and then I'll have this advantage and then I'll feel really smart. Okay, so I retrack back to other level, and for example, I find this sword. Ooh, that's cool. But wait, why is this not an item? Why is this in the miscellaneous category on my inventory? So I keep playing, and eventually in the game, I think near the end, some guy just says, yeah, I'm really looking for some sword. You got an extra sword on you? There's this knight hidden somewhere that we don't know about. And like, what? This was part of a quest line. But instead of feeling like a sequence break, such as Super Metroid or something like that, where you actually skip a portion of something real and then you advance over it, it just feels like I did this fetch quest earlier, wasn't told what I'm doing, and now it's done. So instead of sequence breaking actually changing the flow of the game, what actually happened is I just kind of shuffled around how I experience the entire playthrough. And this happens every single time you find an extra item. You are always, like, whenever you head to where you thought you were actually supposed to go, there's an obstacle there that clearly wouldn't have been able to be avoided if you didn't get the item in advance. Which means that if a player doesn't plan ahead in reverse like I did, like if a player doesn't think that they should like explore a bit more of the levels, then what they have to do is play a level twice, always get stuck, and then retrack with no clear clues onto what they're looking for, because what you're finding is really never like, it's not really related to the area it's found in. Like this sword dude, no, it's just like underwater in some pipes. This caramel cube, like what? This doctor, okay. Let's segue over to the humor of the game. It's awful. It always feels like the game has no actual pressure points. It feels like all the comic relief, but zero moments of tension. The one point in the game that was funny is when I actually went and got sick as an item, and that was really, really funny. it kind of wasn't funny because, again, nothing is an Easter egg, nothing is a secret. You're supposed to eventually find all these things before you, after you're directed to them at least, or you weren't directed to them and you just actually found them. Nothing feels like I do it by myself, and every way I could have experienced this game would have felt like repetition and the game just not trusting me, even though it's presenting to me this like wide area and wide option of exploration, but everything is mandatory, so nothing actually feels like I found it myself, and at some point I just go to the level to complete it for the 100%. Speaking of 100%, the reward is worse than Mario Sunshine's 100% reward, because I like the Mario characters. This game, I don't like the characters, and what I got for the 100% reward, spoiler, let's skip ahead 15 seconds, is just, hello, this seems like concept art. This seems like something that would be on the front of the Kickstarter page. Actually, yeah, it kind of is something that's on the front of the Kickstarter page. Good, thanks. And finally, the last point I have is the alleged combat system that exists in the game. No, this is a tank game in which you control an unbeatable girl, because you can always refill your hearts at a moment's grasp, the moment you know how to get HP. And you can just take almost every boss fight and almost every enemy, and the invincibility frames don't do anything. And there's this dash which does absolutely nothing, like it's useful against exactly 0 attacks. It goes backwards, it's really, really ridiculous. Also, all the items are completely useless compared to your hair. Like, they're of equal value, but they take up a resource, so just why bother? Yeah, so the combat is absolutely garbage. The platforming is very too snappy. It's just like you hit something and like the model flips and like a couple pixels off already, and it just doesn't feel very natural to control. It very much feels like you're just moving the image, like dragging it across a straight line. Again, I just didn't enjoy any part of this game, and I'm just shocked that on the 4th installment by the same developers, I think there was also integrated, but whatever, the game is still this flawed, and like I don't see what brings all the fans in. I just can't. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Shantae just gets Shantae Half Genie Hero gets a half out of 5. How's that? Just, again, I don't think any of this game redeemed its worth. Just can't recommend buying it to literally a single person. So that's that. Very, very positive video, I know, but I just wanted to get this off my chest because I just had this thought ever since I started playing Shantae and feeling how weird it is. So yeah, thanks for watching, I guess. And now for the moment you've been waiting for. Hopefully my next video is actually good. Thanks for watching, whatever. Bye.